Welcome, learners, to another deep dive. Today we're plunging into the pages of Elena Cooper's really evocative book, The Last Breath of the Crystal Moon. Our mission, essentially, is to unpack the core insights from this narrative, how it grapples with profound change, resilience, but without spoiling the actual ending for you.
Exactly. And what's really compelling here, I think, isn't just the fantastical premise. It works so well as an allegory. Like the author asks in her preface, what if the end is not an ending, but a passage? And that question, that's really the heart of what we're exploring today. We're tracing this journey from like certain doom to this vast new unknown and seeing what that shift reveals about us.
Right. So you've shared these incredible passages, and we're ready to pull out those key nuggets for you, help you get the emotional core, the philosophy behind it all, and maybe even offer a new way to look at transformation itself. Okay, let's get into it. So the story kicks off on what seems like a totally ordinary night, but that changes fast. All across the globe, we're talking Milan, Naples, Tuscany, even way out in the Fiji Islands, people see this sudden kind of unsettling glow in the sky. It's not just a light, though. It's something deeper. Something felt.
Yeah, that's what's fascinating, isn't it? How universal the experience is, but how personal the interpretation is. We meet Laura in Milan, Mrs. Elsa down in Naples, Mr. Carlo in Tuscany, Martina in Fiji, and each one, in their own life situation feels this silent flash of lightning coming from the moon. It immediately grounds this huge cosmic event in the individual. Very effective.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it highlights that connection straight away. Like Laura and Davide in Milan are just wondering what it is, but little Giulia, their daughter, she already senses the moon is sad, and Mrs. Elsa, the older woman in Naples, she mutters, "It's happening again, the breath of the moon. I can feel it in my lungs, dear child. It's coughing." That line, wow, the moon is coughing.
It's so visceral, right?
Exactly. Visceral. It reframes the moon not as some rock up there, but as something alive, maybe sick. Creates this immediate kind of intimate dread. It's a brilliant way the author grounds the epic scope in these personal feelings. Even the dogs in Tuscany get restless.
And then you've got Martina in Fiji. Her premonition that the moon is splitting in two, it creates this real chill, this collective unease with her friends, this early sense of dread shared across different places, different ages.
It raises a big question, doesn't it? How do we react, individually, collectively, when the constants, the things we think can't change, start to wobble? The book says people were sensing that something had shifted, a small displacement, an invisible crack. A deep breath, as if their moon had begun to die slowly. It's almost like empathy for the moon itself.
And things don't just go back to normal the next day. That weird glow sticks around, and subtle changes start piling up, rippling through everyday life. Laura dreams the moon is crumbling. Her son, Matteo, dreams it falls right on his head. Astronomers are talking, oscillation, microfragmentation, electromagnetic lunar dust, technical terms, but nothing official. Even nature feels it. Seagulls stop flying, and then, maybe the creepiest part, the moon just disappears, becomes invisible. Right, and this is where those personal stories really hammer home the global shift. Mrs. Elsa finds a crack in her living room wall, just appears, and she says, "It's beginning." Carlo, the widower, he finds this weird stone in his field, perfectly smooth, black, warm to the touch. Starts hearing buzzing in his dreams. Martina keeps dreaming about a crystal moon cracking open, releasing black light. What's so striking is how these fractures in the night, as the book calls them, are happening everywhere. People, animals, even reality itself. But the official channels, mostly silent. It shows how truth often leaks out in these small anomalies first.
So after 3 nights with no moon at all, the sun comes back. But it's almost too bright. Aggressively generous, the book says. Such a stark contrast to the unease before. Like the world's trying really hard to forget. So after these weird events, how do people respond? Do they face it or just try to get back to normal?
Well, this period where everyone just pretended everything was fine, it asks something interesting about us collectively. Is denial just a flaw? Or maybe it's a necessary coping mechanism when you're facing something existentially huge. Governments put out these reassuring statements, right? Temporary atmospheric phenomena, no risk. They dismiss the scientists who disagree. And people, the source says, did what they knew how to do best. They pretended everything was fine. It's a pretty sharp look at our drive for normalcy, even when things are clearly not normal.
Yeah, and the story shows this denial playing out in these little moments. In Milan, Laura feels surprisingly okay, light even. Her daughter Giulia draws a happy moon. In Naples, Elsa just goes to the market, says, "It's the sun. It makes us forget even the apocalypse," almost defiant. Carly in Volterra grabs a coffee in town. Nobody's talking about the moon anymore. And in Fiji, remember how scared they were? Now Martina and her friends feel lighter. They even go to a beach dance class.
It's quite poignant, that false calm, because it shows how easily we can be, lulled by things seeming normal, even when massive changes are happening underneath. For a whole week, the world pretended everything had returned to normal. But the truth is still there. But the moon was still dying. It makes you think about how much of our reality is just like consensus and how fragile that can be.
Okay, so the sun's shining, people are trying to feel secure, but out in the remote corners of the world, reality starts to really unravel. Not like a big crash, more like a slow, creeping distortion, something you can't ignore for much longer.
Yeah, we see this really vividly with the Smirnov family. They're in Novgorod Oblast, Russia. They get these weird warm winds, their preserve jars burst, shadows look wrong. Kolya's compass just spins wildly. Yuri notices the sun setting minutes earlier than it should, but there's no official word. Then communication breaks down. Radio static, unstable internet. Their whole region vanishes from weather maps. Kolya says, it's like we've disappeared from the grid. It's terrifying, right? When your connection to the world, your very perception starts falling apart.
And down in Patagonia, Martin, he's a geologist, he finds these strange mineral formations shifting inside a cave. His son, Leo's drone, picks up weird interference, even glimpses what he calls a mouth in the sky. They feel these small tremors, but seismographs don't register anything. The stars seem to be moving wrong. Martin says, it's like the universe is trying to tell us something, but in a language we don't understand. That really captures it, this growing horror of a world coming unglued from science.
And it poses that question again. Who is listening when the official channels are silent? Or just dismissing things? Because the story reviews that while normal folks are dealing with this weirdness, the governments, in their most protected centers, they know. They have clear signals. Unexplained underground pulses, astronomical data that's way off. The moon is definitely losing mass. There's a deliberate holding back of information. Suggests fear and control are winning out over truth.
And here's where the hidden truth just explodes out. Those at the top knew, and they activated what had been hidden for decades. In deserts, in glaciers, in the darkest underground vault, the alien spacecraft. Whoa, that's a massive turn. Back in Milan, little Julia dreams of a giant black mouth in the sky. Chills, right? Echoing what Leo saw. Naples. Elsa hears the walls breathing, sees a weird image flash on TV. Volterra. Carlos' plants die, his well water turns milky. Then a robotic message. Stay indoors. Do not panic. Everything is under control. The irony is just thick.
Oh, absolutely. Everything under control while chaos escalates. Stark irony. In Fiji, Martina sees reflections of unknown faces in the sea. Then all 5 friends get hit by this 12-second blackout. Phones, lights, music, sound just off, a total sensory void. In Russia, the Smirnovs see a silent explosion in the sky, here humming underground. Their clocks start showing different times. These fractures in the night aren't just random anymore. They're clearly pointing to something bigger, something coordinated. And then we learn. Deep underground, in a secret military base in the Nevada desert, a massive metal door opened. Behind it rested 3 spacecraft of non-terrestrial origin. They were called the Guardians. The plan was ready, but only a few would be chosen. It's selective, impersonal, raises all sorts of questions about fate. Who gets saved?
So the world's been holding its breath for weeks, right? Clinging to that illusion of normal, and now that breath ends. Fire began, point of no return, a rapid, cataclysmic shift. Everything familiar just obliterated.
We follow this nameless technician, Arizona desert, descends into this massive underground hangar, thousands of alien spacecraft arranged in perfect circles. Then a robotic voice. Universal boarding protocol activated, selection of souls in progress. Chilling. Reveals the huge scale, but also how impersonal this whole operation is. It's not about choice, it's programmed selection.
Milan. Lauren Davidi's house shakes. The son Mateo says it's raining fire, cars exploding outside, news channel is chaos. Gathering points in progress. Follow the transmitted coordinates. They grab the kids and run. Volterra. Carlo, the widower. He finds his final silence. Just hold his dog as a pure fire fell like a divine whip. The contrast between this universal destruction and these deeply personal goodbyes, it's heartbreaking.
It really is. And Fiji, equally profound. The sea pulls back violently. Then these dark figures appear. Vertical eyes and translucent skin. Alien. Glowing drops fall, causing memory loss. A weird kind of mercy, maybe? But then a helicopter projects coordinates onto a rod. Signal to flee. Russia. The Smirnovs' fields just vanish, replaced by smooth black terrain. A triangular craft comes down, and Yuri's own voice booms from loudspeakers. Prepare yourselves, you have been selected.
This mix of the alien, the familiar, the utterly devastating, it paints such a vivid picture of this forced exodus.
The scale is just overwhelming, isn't it? Millions died, millions vanished, thousands were marked by mysterious coordinates, and amidst all that chaos, the ultimate loss, the moon. no longer existed. Only the silence of its absence and the mechanical song of the ships opening above the world. It's an emptiness beyond just losing a rock in the sky. It's erasing a constant, a symbol from human consciousness. And those who make it onto the ships are just floating in this deafening silence of space, stuck between saved or condemned. Thus. Then, day 4, General Raymond T. Weaver speaks to this global coalition of survivors. He announces, Earth no longer exists as we knew it. The moon has collapsed into fragments. Reveals the ships aren't ours. Recovered decades ago. They're traveling faster than light to a new home. Galaxy M7285, where a planet very similar to Earth awaits us. Name, Alara. Promises breathable air, water, okay temperatures. It's survival, sure, but laced with this profound grief of losing everything.
And you feel that grief. Marquina just stares at blank walls. Luco mourns his mother. Laura cries silently. Her son Mateo seems like he's aged years in just days. But even in that raw sorrow, adaptation starts. Elsa, fragile as she is, observes the real pain isn't losing your home, but losing the sound of the voices you love. That hits hard. What loss truly means. The ships themselves are designed cleverly. Grow zones, artificial gyms, laboratories. People find new roles. Teachers, cooks, lead meditation. Humanity, even shattered, starts to rebuild instinctively.
And the general talks about Alara again on day 7. We are survivors traveling toward a second chance. Then a transparent screen lights up, shows the new world. 2 moons, green-blue oceans, drifting clouds, and a chain of golden mountains. And for the first time, someone smiles. That's a key moment, right? Shows that even after unimaginable loss, hope, a new beginning. It can emerge, literally, a new horizon. Makes you think about what being a survivor really entails.
As the journey goes on, time gets weird, fluid. The ships themselves start feeling alive. They respond to the collective mood. The gravity is gentle, floating. It's more than just a transport. It's like an extension of them.
Yeah, this kind of symbiotic thing between people and the tech, it suggests a deep inner transformation is happening too, alongside the physical journey. We see the Milan family finding a rhythm. Laura watches seeds sprout in the air, great metaphor for new life in the void. Mateo's fascinated by interactive star maps. Julia talks to this little robot she calls Lou. Elsa, who is so agitated, becomes the star grandmother, telling stories with light projectors. She finds a new role, keeper of stories, comfort.
And Martina, remember how lost she was? She starts drawing again, flying flowers.
Yeah.
It really seems like the ship itself is helping this deeper internal shift. The book hints some people get visions, internal messages, and that resisting transformation caused pain. Accepting it brought peace, which leads to this really powerful idea. The farther we go, the closer we return home. It's not just about changing planets, it's about confronting yourself.
Yeah.
Suggests that maybe radical disruption is, ironically, the path to knowing yourself better.
And then, day 209, a huge moment. All the walls turn transparent. And there's Alara, full glory. Not just a picture, but an invitation. A real, tangible new place. Described as having 2 moons, light as feathers, and a glowing crystal ring that emitted a resonant song. Not heard with the ears, but felt with the heart. It's alive. It glows at night. This description, it's more than just habitable. It sounds like a place of deep, almost spiritual connection. A world that resonates with the soul.
Yuri, the guy who was withdrawn, writing backwards, he finally speaks. Says, I've seen Alara. It's a place that's not afraid of human beings. Even General Weaver admits, we are being guided, by whom, I don't know, but every attempt to control is gently redirected. So the deepest fear starts giving way to this sense of being protected, like they're surrendering to a larger purpose. And then they're invited to write something, memory, thought, dream, for a passage cube, an archive for this new land, a new kind of history.
Those messages for the passage cube, they're incredibly moving. They distill the whole journey, Laura writes. I left the world to find myself. If I died tomorrow, I would know who I am. Davide. Love doesn't die, it only changes form. Just kidding. We crossed the dark and discovered that within it, a light was singing. This passage cube idea, it's more than just an archive, isn't it? It's like a collective statement of new identity, new purpose. Shows the journey wasn't just external displacement, but deep internal rediscovery, forging meaning from catastrophe.
So there you have it, a journey with us through the remarkable world of The Last Breath of the Crystal Moon. We've seen a world losing its foundations, watched how different people reacted to the unimaginable, and followed this harrowing journey towards a totally new existence.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows how catastrophe can be a catalyst, right, for profound transformation. The moon's destruction symbol of ultimate loss actually becomes the trigger for a passage to something entirely new. Not just a different planet, but maybe a different way of being human, connecting differently, understanding our place differently.
And as those ships finally slow down and Alara opens up before them, like a promise never made yet always kept. We're left right there, on the edge of this vast unknown, poised between immense grief and, well, limitless possibility.
The story really leaves us with a provocative thought, doesn't it? What would it mean for humanity to truly start over? Not just on a new world, but with a completely new understanding, connection, guidance, purpose, where maybe the old boundaries just melt away. So, here's something for you to ponder. If you were on one of those ships, leaving everything behind, what single memory or thought or dream would you put in that passage cube? What essence of your humanity would you carry forward?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you plenty to think about, and maybe even inspired you to pick up the book and explore this incredible journey for yourself.